Bagfuel, baby.
You spent 27 years in prison, and everybody hears the jail stories, but the caveat is you were innocent the whole time. Let's go through your whole story, man.
All right, let's go to it. I want to correct you on one little thing, though.
Enlighten me.
It wasn't 27 years on the inside. It was actually 17 years. And
It's still a lot.
And it took me another 10 years to actually get acquitted. So it's a total of 27 years
Gotcha.
altogether.
So you got out in 17 years, but you were still found guilty?
Right. I was released on parole on a special conditional release because I stopped the inmate from raping a female in jail. And they granted me a special conditional release on a 20-year life sentence that I got when I was 14 years old.
So why did you want to clear your name? You were out on parole.
I've been fighting the fight for my life, for my freedom, and for my redemption has been ever since they actually kidnapped me into the system as a child.
Yeah.
My whole life has been consumed with the system and the injustice of the system. And I lost all my family members, like my grandmothers, my aunts, and all that during the time of my incarceration. I was fortunate enough to stay out my mother on the outside when I came home, but after serving all that time, I went out as a kid, and after doing all that time, when I came home to my mother living in the same circumstances, if not worse, living in the same apartment I got arrested in, in Brooklyn, New York, and Crown Heights. And actually, why I say it was better because now I was a grown man with responsibilities, and I wasn't even actually prepared to be released into society because I was institutionalized. And when this incident happened and when the guy actually, assaulted and attempted to rape the woman, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time because I was facilitating the anger management program, and she was my supervisor. And it wasn't even a matter of me trying to do a good deed. It was just a matter of me being a man that doesn't stand for rape. You know what I'm saying? Like, people often look at individuals in prison and put different type of
Stigmatisms
to them. You know what I'm saying? And automatically look at you like bad people. But living inside of prison and growing up inside of that environment, it's a lot. It's a lot of principle orientated, but it's also a lot of animalism that's applauded.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard. However, I never grew up or raised to want to abuse women, or that wasn't how I was raised. I was raised by women or anything like that. So actually, when I seen this incident take place, it was natural impulse. I reacted because it was my impulse. I didn't have to think about it. It was just natural reaction. And that's actually how the way I presented it to the parole board when they actually released me, that, this was my natural reaction. However, being in this environment that she was a Caucasian female, I received a lot of criticism, especially by the gang members. You know what I'm saying? They looked at me like
a traitor or something?
They looked at me like a traitor, like, oh, he saved the devil, because she was a white female. And she was actually a young white Caucasian female that was working in the facility that was actually helping other individuals. You know what I'm saying? I actually just ran into one of the blood dudes that was a leader in the blood sets that was in my class like a week ago. And he was speaking about him being in my class when it happened. And he was saying like how dudes was talking about how they was wanted to formulate, because they was trying to put me in like a protective custody program after this shit happened, because they felt like I was going to be in danger. Wow. But the fact of my ego, you know what I'm saying? I was raised in prison, so I never had much. You know what I'm saying? All I had was my name. So me being a respected figure inside of the penitentiary, I thought that my name, had validity to it by individuals respecting me in that environment. So by me going into something like a protective custody over what I felt, knowing in my heart was right, I was totally against that.
I gotta interrupt you to add to the story, because people might not understand why you didn't take PC. You went in when you were 14. So this is all you know. You understand? To the people, they'd be like, oh, he did a good deed. He could just be over there. Like, you grew up more in the system than you did in Brooklyn. So that's the mentality people got to understand. So when you're saying ego, it makes sense to us. But to the people out there, they're like, yo, he can get killed at any time.
I was also institutionalized, right?
Yeah.
So part of my story is I never met my pops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my pops was a victim of gun violence. So I never got the opportunity to meet him. You know, so I never had no structure really growing up in the community I was growing up in. Growing up in Ocean Hill, Brownsville, anybody will tell you, man, living right around the corner from Kingsborough Projects, that shit was
That's a joke.
it was something like New Jack City at that time when I was growing up. That's what later on in life when I actually seen the movie, that's what it looked like to me. But as a kid, actually visualizing this shit, I was living around the corner from one of the biggest drug dealers known today that had a strong hold on my whole community. And during that element, a lot of my family members became victims to using them drugs. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up in all of that, and I had a lot of anger issues growing up. You know what I'm saying? Me not being able to read and shit like that. I had a lot of anger issues that I had bottled up. So you go growing up in this environment, and when you don't got the right guidance, you start looking at certain things. I started becoming the same shit that I didn't want, that I hated. You know what I'm saying? Like being in that environment, like looking at the older drug dealers, like they was really resources of power. That's why I stand on so firm on what I do today, because I realized the influence and the shit, the effect that it had on me growing up as a kid.
All of us, bro.
Yeah, all of us.
And I had my father. I had my mother, my father. I still got him to this day. I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens, and I was a ball player. I was smart. I still wanted to be Nino Brown, nigga. I still saw
man.
Tracy driving
Don't know
around
why.
with the candy apple red Beamer with the flyest girls, and I saw the dude 16 with the Beamer, 50 with 16 with the Benz of the Beamer, like moped Jettas, same age as me, and I'm just like, yo, like I'm still going to school though. Like, thank God for me, girls was checking for me, because if they wasn't checking for me, I would have been in the street harder, bro.
Yeah.
Because they influence what we got going on a lot. Girls influence what we got going on a lot.
I tell people that all the time. And you know, I wore a mask for my trauma for so many years, man. Like it's a refreshing for me to be able to sit up here and talk and be emotional and cry. Like I was in an environment where I had to hide all these emotions.
You had to.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even know how to deal with a lot of that trauma and shit that I had. A lot of my bottled up anger and shit, I used to like really be angry at like the people that I know that really love me for some reason, like my mother. And she was one of the only people that held me down through my bed. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about to the point where like paying females to come visit me and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, respect to mom too. Look at your brother. Your brother like that.
I mean,
that's real.
That's different, son.
You know, just to keep me in the loop to the fact that, you know what I'm saying, I could stay in tune with a female from me going in so early.
To talk.
To
know what's going on.
Feel like you got a girl.
You can relate to them.
Man.
By the time
You
you
know
get out, the world is so different. They would consider you like awkward and
your mom's
inadequate,
different.
socially
Your mom's
inadequate.
different
I'm keeping it real with you. You know what I'm saying?
You
like
different.
Respect to her. For
when
that.
I went in, I ain't have no girlfriend. I was so young. So
Nigga.
I had girls I liked it, but I ain't have no real girlfriend. You get what I'm saying? So I ain't have that attachment. And then the fact that I went through juvenile system, you had to be of 18 to be able to visit me in that. So it was the girls that I liked that wasn't even able
14,
to come. Yeah,
15,
I was 14.
they couldn't even come visit
They couldn't
you.
come visit me, bro. So, you know, I often say like how individuals go through elementary school, junior high school, and then college. Like I went through all the steps of the penitentiary all the way through max prison. You know what I'm saying? And that's how every time I graduated was like to another form of incarceration. You get what I'm saying? And my mind was geared towards all that shit and me growing up like that. And to even went to the point where, you know, and being I ain't never really talk about this on no interview ever though. But even when I got out of prison for some shit that I didn't do, that shit had made me a criminal, bro. Being in it so long. Like, I came out here, I was a criminal, my nigga. I took over my block. I started selling drugs. I was doing all type of robberies and shit. It got to the point to where my mother told me, like, you got to fight for yourself now. You letting this shit make you who they wanted you to be. I can't fight for you no more. You in a position to fight for yourself, man. I came home, I caught cases. I went to another trial. I'm on light parole, facing another 20 years on life. All that by the grace of God, I'm here today. So I don't sit here and perpetuate no fake gangster lifestyle. I don't understand what that street, when they think you're a real street nigga, what the fuck is that? Like, I really grew up in this shit, right? I grew up around all the so-called tough gangster niggas that got all this time, all the reputable names, the name that ring bells. My name ring just as much bells as any of these other individuals, right? Bruh, I don't even want to introduce myself by my so-called streets nickname no more. That shit don't have no validity to it. It don't mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? I done been in positions where, you know, I'm doing a book right now, so I don't want to expose a lot, but I done been in a position where I done seen some of the toughest individuals, or even myself, where they done stripped me naked, my nigga. It had me in a motherfucking cell for days, suicide watch, coming there feeding me loaf, coming there beating me whenever the fuck they want to, piss blood. You know what I'm saying? So when the motherfuckers talk about they tough and all that shit, I don't get that when you in the motherfucking, in this position, in order for you to even go visit your family, my nigga, you got to bend over and crack your ass cheeks for some stranger that is nowhere physically fit enough to challenge you. But this is how you gotta bow down to this circumstance. But then you perpetuate this tough mentality to these children. And
these other niggas outside, when you know
like,
you,
this is like
when you saying yes sir, no sir, all
like,
day.